Hi guys, welcome back to my channel, Ticking Together. As always, the goal of this channel is to provide education about and to raise awareness as to what it's like living with Tourette Syndrome. I got rice. In today's video, I'm going to be telling you guys a story, and it's a doozy of a story. This is the story of how I hid my Tourettes and my tics from everyone I knew for years. But before we get into that, let me just back it up. My name is Carly, I am 24 years old, and I was diagnosed with Tourette Syndrome at the age of 12. Since 12, I have progressively developed more and more tics. My Tourette's has been pretty bothersome in my life. I've been on medication after medication. I'm currently on 3 medications for my Tourette's, 2 of which are antipsychotics. And it's just a struggle to live with Tourette Syndrome. Tourette's is not a joke. It's not some quirky, cute, trendy fad. It's a struggle to live with. This is the reality of hitting myself too. For those of you that don't know what Tourette Syndrome is, it is a neurological disorder, which means my brain is directly impacted by this disorder, and it causes me to make involuntary movements and sounds known as tics. So these weird things I'm doing throughout this video, those are tics. I can't control them, like hitting myself, and it's just a part of my life. And so you're probably wondering, how on earth did you hide this for so long? Let me tell you. So as I said, I was diagnosed with Tourette Syndrome at the age of 12, and I started having pretty bad tics around 10-ish, but my diagnosis was around the time when I was going into junior high school. So in Canada, there's elementary, junior high, high school. Elementary is K to 6, junior high is 7 to 9, and high school is 10 to 12. And so I was going into junior high, which is 7 to 9. And I had just got diagnosed the summer before going into grade 7. So going into a new school, I was like, I now have this disorder, this lifelong thing that I'm gonna have to go into a new school with. I didn't know how to talk about it. I didn't know how to approach it. And so I remember when I was diagnosed, my mom, my dad, and my brother, and I, mainly my parents and I, agreed on this kind of pact where we would not tell anyone about my Tourette's unless they had to know. And looking back on it, this is the absolute worst case scenario. This is the stupidest thing we could have done. I'm very, very upset that we did this, but this is just what I thought was the best thing for me, because I was like, I'm going to a new school. I want to be normal. In elementary school, I was bullied a lot, and it was horrible. It was so heartbreakingly painful for a young girl to go through. It was so hard for me to go through being bullied in elementary school without having noticeable tics. And so I thought, going into junior high, why would I want to have a target on my back already saying I'm different, I'm weird, I have Tourette's? So I wanted to hide it. When I was diagnosed with Tourette Syndrome, I was immediately put on a medication called clonidine, which I'm not on anymore, and it didn't really help my tics, but I was put on it. I was put on clonidine, and I was trying my best to act normal. So I went into junior high school, and I kind of had this weird kind of way of going around where I would suppress my tics for the whole day. And this may come as a shock because, as I said, I was just diagnosed, so I was just starting to deal with severe tics and Tourette's in general. And I would suppress by, here's the thing about junior high. So there were different periods. I think we had about 6 periods, so 6 classes throughout the day, and each class had a different teacher. And so my little life hack was that I would ask to go to the bathroom once per class, so once per teacher. And so no teachers ever caught on to it that I was going to the bathroom once a class, because usually they wouldn't let you go if you asked more than once. It was just kind of how school was. So I timed it where I would go to the bathroom for about 5 to 7 minutes per period, and I would let out my tics in a bathroom stall. And this is a really sad reality for me. This is honestly heartbreaking to think about, because since I would suppress my tics so much, I really wasn't myself in junior high or high school, but we'll get into that. I hid my tics because I wanted to be normal. And so I would tic in the bathroom stalls alone. I would have vocal tics, motor tics, almost tic attacks for those 7 minutes because I had been suppressing all day and this energy was building up inside of me. And And when I was in classes, for example, if I had to tic, I would redirect them into things that people wouldn't bat an eye at. So if I had an arm tic like this, I would kind of just do this and move my hair with it so people wouldn't be like, what is she doing? Because everyone moves their hair. Or I would tense my stomach or tense my legs because no one notices that. Like, that's my own thing. No one's gonna pay attention to that. And if people weren't looking at me, if the teacher was at the board and the students were writing notes, sometimes I would let out little neck tics and nose scrunching tics. But for the most part, I hid it very well. And I didn't tell anyone. And this is something that I never wish I would have done because I was in agony at the end of the day. I would walk home from school, lock myself in my room as soon as I got home, and have tic attacks almost every single day, where I would have severe bouts of tics. I would be moving constantly, just hurting myself unintentionally, really in pain, because I was trying to cater to individuals and trying to act normal so I wouldn't have a target on my back. As I said, I wanted to be not bullied like I was in elementary school, even though it turned out that I was bullied, even when people didn't know I had Tourette's. And so it was just really hard. I would come home from school and sometimes I would get my parents to hold my arms and legs down at my sides while I was lying on my stomach because I was just moving them so much and I was in so much discomfort that I was like, Mom and Dad, please hold me down, restrain me, I'm hurting myself, like I can't help this, help me. And it just got to the point where it was really hard, and I don't know why I ever decided to do this besides the point that I wanted to be normal. I've always craved normalcy. I wanted to be normal. I wanted to not be bullied. I wanted to have friends. But realistically, my only friends in junior high school were the bathroom stalls where I'd hide my tics. I've always been weird, always been kind of odd and a little bit out there. I've never really had a good time making friends. I've always been alone. I would eat lunches alone. I would just be alone. And part of me wishes I would have told people that I had Tourette's because then I could have been my genuine self and maybe I would have had a better time. And it just sucks. Like, hiding tics from people is not easy. While I was suppressing, I would not be fully with it. In my head, I would be thinking, don't tic, don't tic, don't tic, don't tic. So I would be missing out on the lessons. I would be missing out on writing notes. I don't even know how I did so well in junior high because I was just in my head the whole time trying to be like, let's be normal, Carly. And it wasn't even just with school and classmates, it was with my extended family. I have a pretty big family with lots of cousins and aunts and uncles, and we would go to family functions, and lots of the time I would find a room in the house to just hide in and tic in, or else I'd have panic attacks. And I didn't let my cousins know that I had Tourette syndrome until recently because I didn't want to be the weird cousin, the one that had all the problems. Because all my cousins, I've really looked up to them my whole life. I think they're wonderful people. And I didn't want to be the odd one out. I wanted to be wonderful too, you know? And it's just really challenging to hide your tics from everyone. I don't even know what in my head, why I did it. My parents and I decided, like, don't tell your school, don't tell your friends, don't tell family even, like, just don't tell people because it's taboo and weird. And there was such a stigma surrounding it back then, and there still is now. But it got to the point where I just didn't tell anyone, and I was struggling inside so much. It led to a deep depression, severe anxiety. I was diagnosed with both depression and anxiety disorders and OCD, and my mental health declined so rapidly from holding in these tics. So I guess what I wanted to say is holding in tics is possible. So if someone out there says I have tics and you've never seen them tic, like, don't come at them and say you're lying, because I hid my tics for about 9 years from my closest people in my life because I was so ashamed. And it's just something that I would never wish on anyone. I didn't even tell, after I got out of junior high, I didn't even tell my high school that I had Tourette's until it got to the point where I couldn't do school. I had to go to online school and my principal got involved and we had to sit down. I remember my mom and me sat in the principal's office with the vice principal and the principal, and we finally told him that I have Tourette's, I need accommodations, like, I can't do this anymore. And I wish I would have done that in junior high. I wish I would have gotten accommodations, so instead of writing exams with everyone in the same room and feeling like there was always eyes on me and not ticking and therefore not being focused on the exam material, if I would have been given accommodations then, I probably would have done a lot better. And I just wish I would have been true to myself. It wasn't until 2 Decembers ago that I made my Tourette's public per se. I posted on my Facebook page saying, hey friends and family, like I have Tourette syndrome, surprise kind of thing. And a lot of people didn't know, but a lot of people reacted so well. And that is something that I've always craved. I've always wanted to be accepted for something that I've never felt confident in. I've always been so ashamed of my Tourette's, and so I hid it from everyone except for my mom and dad and my brother, because I lived with them. Like when you're in the same house as someone, you can't really hide it around them. Like I had to let out my tics sometimes, so my parents and my brother knew. But it's just a really hard thing to realize. Like looking back on it, I regret this part of my life extremely. This is one of my biggest regrets. I know everyone has regrets, but this is one of my all-time biggest regrets, was hiding my tics from people, from everyone, because I was so sad. I was like a robot or like a shell of a human. I was walking around in my head just being not myself, and it was horrible. Like I wouldn't wish it on anyone. I wouldn't wish hiding your true self on anyone, especially for like 10 years, because I was so miserable. I was miserable hiding these tics, and it was something that I felt like I had to do to cater to society, and because the stigma was so bad, I just felt like I had to be this perfect person, and as a result hide my Tourette's, which is a part of me. And I don't know why I ever thought that, and I regret it. I wish I could go back in time, and I wish I could have been my genuine self, because I got rice. Because maybe I would have made friends, maybe I wouldn't have been as severely bullied, maybe I would have been accepted for who I was, and I'll never know the truth, but I wish I would have been myself. And viewers, if you're still watching this video and you're out there with tics or Tourette's and you're just diagnosed or whatever, like I'm begging you, don't do what I did. Don't hide your tics from people. Embrace it. Own who you are, because different is the new normal. I wish I would not have hidden this for so long, because the stuff I went through with my mental health, trying to be normal when I really wasn't, and I knew I wasn't, but I was trying to fit in, like I wouldn't wish that on anyone. So yeah, don't hide who you are. Be your true, authentic self. That is the most important lesson on my whole channel, I think, besides providing education and breaking the stigma and raising awareness. Just be yourself. Don't feel like you have to hide any part of you for any sake. Be you. Be genuinely you. Because thinking about it, like, it hurts my heart how much I hid who I was from every single person in my life. I would journal, and my journal was the only place I would let out everything. And I mean, that was a good outlet, but I wish I would have talked about it. I wish I would have been able to talk about my tics and show my tics and live comfortably and authentically, because I wasted like 9 years of my life hiding, and I don't know why I did it. I just wanted to be normal, and realistically, normal is not a thing, Carly, so I don't know why I did it, and I regret it. I struggled to accomplish anything because I hid myself. I hid my tics, I hid my Tourette's. I just didn't tell people, and I wish I would have, and I'm sorry for being all emotional and stupid. It's hard to think about the fact that I hid this huge part of my life because I was ashamed, because I thought people would hate me for it, because I thought people would laugh at me or make fun of me. Because every time I hear a Tourette's joke in public, I take it offensively, and I take it like to heart, because I'm like, that's me that you're talking about. And I don't get it. I don't get it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Just please be yourself. Be true to who you are. Don't hide massive parts of you. Like, the amount of negativity it had on my mental health, like, ugh. I'm really glad I finally came forward and like told people, because everyone has been so supportive in my real life, and they've been like, my mom even told some of my family, so like they knew when I didn't think that they knew, and like everyone's been so nice. And I wish I would have been myself earlier, and I don't know why I never did. But that's the story of how I hid my Tourette's from everyone I knew. Would I recommend it? Never. I would never recommend hiding your tics or your Tourette's, even if there's repercussions, even if people are mean to you. At the end of the day, you're gonna feel so much better inside knowing that you're being genuine and authentic rather than hiding this massive part of you. At the end of the day, just be yourself, even if it sucks, even if it's hard, because you're gonna feel better about yourself at the end of the day. And that's something I know now, looking back on it. And I didn't know it back then, but I wish I could tell my 12-year-old self, Carly, just tell people. It's not a horrible thing. It's just a part of you. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. Leave a comment down below saying hi, telling me what you want to see in future videos, or letting me know if you experienced anything similar to this, if you hid yourself from other people. Let me know if you relate to this. I want to start a genuine conversation in the comments. I read every single one of your comments, and a lot of the time they make me cry because they're so emotional and personal, and you guys are just the best community ever. I really truly appreciate all of you. Please subscribe to this channel and ring that notification bell to stay tuned to all of my content. I post about Tourette Syndrome awareness as well as some of my life stories of living with Tourette's for over 10 years. And again, thank you for watching. Always, always, always be yourself. As always, we're learning together, we're laughing together, and we're ticking together. Bye.